Hey everybody, how's it going? So there's one person I met at that Fort Lauderdale meetup. I forget his name. I'm bad with names, unfortunately. And he had said, if you noticed over the past year, there have been some certain items that just haven't been released or been postponed in being released as a result of COVID and everything that was going on. And one thing that would be interesting to discuss is that happened and nobody, with a lot of consumer electronics, and nobody's life was ruined because of it. And maybe people will stop thinking they need a new one every single year. And that's an interesting thing to talk about. So for me, my Moto phone finally met a bit of a demise because of a long story there. So I replaced it with this LG phone because I was able to get it in the 200s. Not because I like LG much. This is an LG V60, and this kind of sucks. I wasn't aware that a company that markets themselves as an audiophile brand has a phone. It's literally the only Android phone I've ever used that nerfs the quality of a mic you attach to it. And because I do videos on YouTube from time to time, I have this little mic with this little with this windscreen. I'm not going to call it the other thing because I don't want to scare my little Clinton away. But it's a little windscreen that goes on top of it. It's a really nice shotgun mic that beats the crap out of what comes with the phone. And if you have a phone like one of these LG phones where the internal mic is shrill and sounds like total garbage, it's useful to have this. Unless you have an LG V60, in which case it doesn't actually work because it nerfs the sound quality of any mic that you plug into it, no matter what you do in the settings. And I did a video on this a while back. I'll link below. So I was looking for something that would actually work a little bit better. I also want another carrier because in my trip throughout Florida, I realized how horrible Verizon was, and I settled on this thing, which is a Samsung S10e. I got this in the mid 200s, and I can plug my little microphone into this, and this phone does not nerf the sound quality of it. But what I found while I was looking for a phone is that there's not a lot of better to be had in the newer versions. So I had three basic requirements. There's three basic requirements, and I wasn't even limiting it by price. I wanted a micro SD card slot because I have years and years of stuff that I wanted to. I don't feel like sorting through my stuff and figuring out what do I want to erase, what do I want to keep, when you can get a 1 terabyte SD card for like $180 with a coupon. So I wanted a micro SD card slot. I wanted a headphone jack so that I could plug in this microphone because this is critical to the sound quality of the videos that I do while I'm on the go so that they don't sound as bad as they did on the V60. And I wanted it to fit in my hand. So this is the Samsung S10e. That's a little picture of Oreo over there. And when I want to swipe down, I can hold this in my hand and I can do this, right? This is the LG V60. Okay, I hold it in my hand. I want to swipe. I can't make my thumb grow enough that this is horrible. It's a two-handed phone. I can't use this. And most phones that I find nowadays, all of them, they're missing this. Again, headphone jack, fits in my hand, micro SD card slot. Now, some people have said, well, why don't you just go through your stuff and delete stuff so that you could use the onboard storage of the phone that doesn't have the micro SD card slot? Why? You're asking me to spend more money to buy this year's model when last year's model works. And even if last year's model didn't work, I could go online at eBay or Amazon and buy these things used for $200. Why should I spend more money and have to inconvenience myself? People have said, well, why don't you just get a USB-C microphone to replace this one? A, that does not allow me to charge while using the microphone. Admittedly, a rare use case, but a use case that I occasionally do use. Because every now and then, I have this, like if I'm in the car or on my bike and I want to do a video while I'm on my bike or in the car, I will plug it in while having this thing plugged into it. And also, why should I have to spend $80 on a new microphone when this one works? When the new microphone will sound identical to this one. It's the same capsule, just different interface. It's not like we're going from USB 1 to USB-C. It's not like there's a genuine upgrade here. You just took away an audio jack, so now I have to use this hacked way of using USB-C audio because you took away my jack. And then it's, well, why you should change the way you use your hands so that the phone, so you could use it with two hands. But you're asking me to spend money on the next year's model. It's your job to convince me that I should give you $500 to $1,000 of my money when what I have already works. And it's really interesting to me that when I actually do want to spend money on something new, which I rarely do, I wind up buying something used because there's no current market option that actually fits my use case. Fits in my hand, micro SD card, headphone jack I could plug my little microphone into. I wind up buying a phone that's not 1 generation old, but 2 generations old. The S21 series, no micro SD card slot or headphone jack. S20, I think, is no headphone jack. I have to go all the way back to the S10e. And also, this fits all three. And it actually fits in my hand. I can comfortably use it and do this without having to grab this hand or like stretch or, you know, have my phone like with this one, like you have to do this thing where you do this. So I have it halfway over here to scroll, but then it's going to fall out of my handies. It's like, who wants to deal with that shit? And what I find interesting about the past year is that a lot of, I saw that devices had these later release dates or new releases were just postponed. And I kind of wonder if people will realize who kept their devices 1 year longer than they usually would have, that the world didn't end, that their little device was okay. And I hope they do. I hope more people do. I was just kind of curious among some people that I know, do people really prefer not having a micro SD card slot? Do they prefer not having a headphone jack? Do they prefer the phone being bigger than their head? And for most people, the reason they get a new one is not because they are just sexually attracted to the micro SD card slot missing and they're just running for features to be taken away. Rather, it's just their old phone is not working well. They don't really know that repair is an option. They are on a contract, so they believe that they're getting a cheap upgrade when in reality they're not. If you had prepaid service and you paid for the phone up front, it's way cheaper than just going straight to Verizon or somebody. But that's a topic for another video. They just think that, you know, okay, well, I don't know how to fix my old one. They don't sell that one new anymore. I guess I should get the newest one. And the newest one just so happens to be missing something that the older one has, and so they kind of put up with it. It's not that they necessarily prefer it. But I'm very curious, are there people out there that actually look at not having a micro SD card slot and go, I'm so excited. I'm so happy that Samsung took away the micro SD card slot in this phone. You know what? You know, I was going to buy that phone, but that phone had a micro SD card slot, so I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. If it didn't have a micro SD card slot, I'd buy it. But them giving me the option to have a secondary piece of storage, shit. Who says that? Who says that? Well, one of my personal rules is if you try to get me to buy more of your storage by not allowing me to bring mine, that I'm just not going to buy your product. Just this is a basic requirement. Hey, let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today. As always, I hope you learned something. When I'm off doing videos on the go, mobile, that'll going to sound better now that I actually have a phone that allows me to plug in my microphone, unlike this. What I love about the V60, what I really love about this, the LG G7, G8, and V60 all had a horrible built-in microphone for when using the camera. It's not just inaccurate, it's just very, very shrill, very SE. It's horrible top end. It just rips your ears off. But what I love about it, not only does it have a bad internal microphone, but it doesn't work when you plug in microphones. The announcement that you're probably not going to be making phones anymore couldn't come from a better company. Anyway, that's it for today. As always, hope you learned something. See you all in the next video. Bye now.